This video will show you how to complete the problems on the Comparing Unit Rates worksheet. So the directions say, find the unit rate and which product is the better deal. Number 1, AT&T charges $76 for 500 minutes, or Sprint charges $54 for 450 minutes. So we've got to find the unit rate in order to determine which would be the better deal. Okay? So I'm going to kind of keep it split up here. So I'm going to set up a fraction to represent the rate of AT&T's charges, and I'm going to label this right here too. So it'd be a good idea to always label it so you don't get the two products mixed up, okay? So I want the money on the top as the numerator, and that would be just $76 for 500 minutes, because typically time is going to be in the denominator. Okay, and that right there, that's just the rate. Okay, so that's just the rate. And in order to find the unit rate, we need to set up an equivalent fraction where we have 1 in the denominator. Okay, so we're trying to figure out with AT&T, how much would 1 minute cost? We know that 500 minutes would cost $76 under this plan, but to figure out how much 1 minute would cost, we need to set up that equivalent fraction. So 500 divided by what number equals 1? It'd be 500. So we must also do that to the numerator, okay? So 76 divided by 500, you should come up with 15 cents per minute, and that's the unit rate. Okay? All right, now the other plan was Sprint's, and they charge $54 for 450 minutes, so I'm going to label this one so I don't get the two products mixed up. And for Sprint, I'm going to set up its fraction, $54 for 450 minutes. And again, I want to set up an equivalent fraction right here where I have 1 in the denominator. And right here, this first one was the rate. And when 1's in the denominator, that's a unit rate. That will tell us how much does 1 minute cost under the Sprint plan. 450 divided by what number is 1? Well, it's 450. So we're going to also divide the numerator by 450. 54 divided by 450, you should get 12 cents. And when you're dealing with money, you want to, and if you ever get like a long decimal, you want to round it to the nearest hundred when you're dealing with money, okay? Just because that's how money is written. Okay, so now is the part where we have to examine it. You can't just stop right here because you have to distinguish which one is the better deal. So if you think about it, AT&T charges 15 cents for 1 minute. Well, Sprint charges only 12 cents for 1 minute, so therefore the better deal is Sprint. But you want to specify why, how come? The better deal is Sprint by, well, how much are you saving? You would save, the difference between 12 cents and 15 cents is 3 cents. Don't put 0.3, that'd be 0.30, you know, 30 cents. We want 3 cents, and then don't forget to put the part where it says per minute. Okay? All right, I forgot to put unit right there. Okay, so there we go. Okay. The next problem says 1 5/10 pounds of Fuji apples for $29.85, or 1 2/10 pounds of Granny Smith apples for $20.28. First off, that's an outrageous amount for apples. But anyway, let's go ahead and find which one is the better deal for these really expensive apples. So I'm going to label Fuji, the Fuji apples, and then the Granny Smith over here, because I don't want to get them mixed up. So it's always good to label. So start with the Fuji for that much. And money, you know, the cost is going to go in the numerator, so $29.85 for 1.5 pounds of those Fuji apples. And that right there was the rate. So to find the unit rate, you should know that you should have 1 in the denominator. Okay, and be careful when you're writing this, because when you're abbreviating pounds with LBS, it might look like 11BS. So make sure that you are leaving a space on there, because right here I kind of wrote them too close, so I don't ever want you to think it means 1 and 51/100. So be aware of your abbreviations, just so you don't make mistakes when you're typing things into your calculator and whatnot, okay? So 1 5/10 divided by what number will give you 1? Well, it's divided by 1 5/10. So you're going to also do that to the numerator. $29.85 divided by 1 5 tenths is going to give you $19.90. I think when you typed it in your calculator, it would say 19.9, but think of it as money, so I did include that hundredths digit right there, just so it makes sense for me. So $19.90 for 1 pound, and that's the unit rate. Okay, now I need to go figure out the Granny Smith situation here. And Granny Smith apples, you get 1 2/10 pounds of them for $20.28. So I'm going to go ahead and label everything. So $28.28 for 1 2/10 pounds. Gosh, I did it again. I should have left a bigger space. Sorry. And you're going to set up your equivalent fraction with 1 in the denominator, because then you would know that this is the unit rate. This one right here is just the rate. And how did you go from 1 2/10 to 1? Well, you divided by 1 2/10 to get there. Okay, so if you did that down here, you got to do that up here to the numerator. And 20 2800ths divided by 1 2/10 is $16.90. Okay, 16. I think on the calculator it would say 16.9, but I wanted to add that hundredths place just because it's money and it just makes more sense. So in comparing this, which one's the better deal? 1 pound of these Fuji apples cost $19.90. 1 pound of these Granny Smith apples cost $16.90. So the Granny Smith apples are the better deal, but you want to state by how much per pound they are. So I'm going to start off by saying Granny Smith apples, are the better deal. And by how much? By, well, let's subtract. 19.90 minus 16.90, that's $3. So by $3, and don't forget this part. If you just put by $3, that's confusing. You got to say per pound. Okay? The next problem says the Shell station has 21 gallons of gas for $70, or Conoco has 15 gallons of gas for $50. So find the better deal. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to just make sure I underline some information here. So this right here is the information for the Shell station. So I'm going to make sure I label that so I don't get the two confused at the end. And cost should go in the numerator. So $70. Make sure you label it for 21 gallons. And I'm going to abbreviate gallons with gal. Okay. That right there, that's just the rate. And to find the unit rate, you should know that 1 needs to be in the denominator. And 21 divided by what number would give you 1? Well, it'd be 21. So divide by 21. Divide by 21. And when you go 70 divided by 21, you would get 3 and 33 hundredths. I rounded to the nearest hundredth because it's money. You probably got, I think you probably got a repeating decimal for that one. 70 divided by 21. Yeah, you got this, okay. And since it's money, you want to round to the nearest hundredth. And since the number in the thousands place is not 5 or above, that 3 right there in the hundredths place would stay the same, okay? So in the Shell station, it's $3.33 per gallon is the unit rate. All right, and then Conoco, their deal is 15 gallons of gas for $50. So I'm going to write out the rate here. It's $50 for 15 gallons of gas, and that's the rate. And to get to the unit rate, you want 1 in the denominator. 15, how do you go from 15 to 1? Well, we just divided by 15. And 50 divided by, that says 15. Sorry, it looks so sloppy. Oh, we get the same exact thing. $3.33 per gallon is the unit rate. So, your better deal, it's the same deal. At $3.33 per gallon. Okay. Okay, a Hummer that gets 300 miles on 20 gallons of gas versus a Camry that gets 495 miles on 15 gallons of gas. So what this means is a Hummer would be able to go 300. I don't know if this is true, but this Hummer that they're talking about in the story would be able to travel 300 miles on 20 gallons of gas. Okay, compared to a Camry would be able to travel 495 miles on 15 gallons of gas. So which one would be the better deal? Which one could you travel more miles per gallon? Okay, so let's label Hummer. And its information states, well, 300 miles on 20 gallons of gas. So I want to know how far can they go on 1 gallon. So I want to put gallons on the bottom. And typically, you know, distance goes on top. So 300 miles, 20 gallons on 20 gallons. And that would be the rate. So to find the unit rate, we want 1 in the denominator. And we gotta just figure out that equivalent fraction. So 20 divided by what equals 1? Well, 20. So 300 divided by 20 is 15. So this Hummer in this story can go, on 1 gallon goes 15 miles. Okay, and we have the Camry, which is another type of car. And it goes 495 miles on 15 gallons. And that right there is the rate. So to find the unit rate, we want 1 in the denominator. And 15 divided by what number is 1? Well, it's 15. Okay, 495 divided by 15 is 33 miles. Okay, so before you think, oh yeah, this one's cheaper because you have 15 miles, you know, it's 15 miles per gallon, this one's 33 miles per gallon, you got to think of the context of the story. Now I realize on the front page, for these examples, you wanted to go with the cheaper one. So you wanted the one with the smaller amount per pound, okay, because that was cheaper, that was the better deal, okay? Those were the better deals, the ones that were cheaper. But on this one, think of it, okay? You're thinking about distance. You're comparing distance with gallons. So on 1 gallon of gas, this Hummer goes 15 miles. On 1 gallon of gas, this Camry goes 33 miles. So you got to think, well, which one can you travel farther on 1 gallon of gas? And that would be the Camry. Therefore, the Camry is technically the better deal, okay? I guess I should put the Camry. Camry. And how come? It's a better deal by 18 miles per gallon. Okay? And if you're curious how I got the 18, I just went 33 minus 15. And I got 18. Okay? And don't forget the per gallon part. So if you just put the Camry by 18 miles, that could confuse some people because they might be like, well, that's not the difference between 300 and 495. That might just confuse them. So make sure you put that per gallon part to imply that you found the unit rate and you figured out which one could travel farther on 1 gallon of gas, okay? All right, the next problem. We've got a 17-ounce box of Lucky Charms cereal for $4.89 or a 21-ounce box of Cheerios for $5.69. Okay, so set this up, Lucky Charms, and costs $4.89 for 17 ounces. Okay, that's abbreviation for ounces. And that right there, of course, is the rate, and then we must find the unit rate. 17 divided by what number gives you 1? Well, it's 17. $4.89 divided by 17, and I think you have to do some rounding here to nearest 100. You should get 29 cents per ounce of this Lucky Charms. And then over here, you're comparing it with the 21 ounce of Cheerios for $5.69. Let's label everything. So what did I say? $5.69 for 21 ounces. And let's set up its, this solves the rate. Let's set up to find its unit rate. In unit rates, the denominator is 1. So 21 divided by what number is 1? To figure out its equivalent fraction, well, let's divide by 21. So do that to the numerator. $5.69 divided by 21 is 27 cents. Okay, so again, think about it. For 1 ounce, it costs 29 cents. For 1 ounce of this, it costs 27 cents. So for this case, Cheerios is the better deal. And by how much? By 2 cents. Don't put 0.2. That would be 20 cents. 0.02 is 2 cents, okay? Per ounce. Okay. Safeway special is 6 cans of green beans for $1, or Walmart special is 10 cans for $1.95. So which one would be the better deal? So I got Safeway special right there. And I like to put, money on the top, so then I can figure out how much does 1 can cost. So then I know cans would go on the bottom, because the number that you would want to equal 1 goes on the bottom. $1 for 6 cans. So how much is 1 can? And again, this is the rate. This would be the unit rate. 6 divided by what number is 1? Well, it's 6. 1 divided by 6. I'm going to round to the nearest hundredth. So go ahead and punch it in. 1 divided by 6. And you're going to see you're going to probably get like a repeating decimal. So yep, you got this. And round it to the nearest hundredth. So that's the tenths, hundredths. But you got to look at the thousandths, okay? Because if that number behind the hundredths is 5 or above, that 6 turns into a 7. It goes 1 up, okay? But if the number was below 5, then the 6 would stay as 6. So yeah, this is going to be 17 cents per can. Okay. 17 hundredths of a dollar per can. Now we got Walmart. And that is 10 cans for $1.95, so $1.95. You get 10 cans. And so it's equivalent fraction, because this right here was the rate. So this would be the unit rate. You want to know how much 1 can costs. So 10 divided by what number is 1? Well, it's 10. $1.95 divided by 10, and you're going to get another decimal. Okay, round it like it's money. So it would be 20 cents per can. So round to the nearest hundredth. Okay, so compare it. 1 can costs 17 cents. 1 can here costs 20 cents. So the better buy is Safeway's. Safeway's deal. Or Safeway's special. By 3 cents. Per can. I realize some of you might want to write like this, 3 cents, but just to kind of keep consistency with how we wrote it up here, I'd prefer it like that, okay? But if you wrote 3 cents like that, it's not the end of the world. The cent sign. Okay, so there we go. Don't forget your per can part, okay? All right, last problem on this page. Babysitting for 8 hours and making $72. Or babysitting for 6 hours and making $57. Again, personal preferences aside, don't say, oh gosh, why would anyone want to babysit for 8 hours? Don't think like that. You got to think by first finding the unit rate and making a judgment off of that. You got to base it all on the math, okay? With worksheets. In real life, I don't care how you make your decision regarding this. Okay, so babysitting for 8 hours, so let's find that. So 8 hours. That's how I'm labeling it. That says 8 hours. And so $72 for 8 hours. That's going to be the rate. So to find the unit rate, you got to figure out how much are you making per hour. You got to divide by 8 as in for the numerator and the denominator. 72 divided by 8 is $9. So you'd be making $9 an hour for your unit rate here. And then if you babysat for for 6 hours, I don't know why I wrote that. 6 hours. You'd make $57. That says 57 for 6 hours. That right there is the rate. So to find your unit rate, you want to figure out how much you make for 1 hour. So to get from 6 to 1, you got to divide by 6. 57 divided by 6 is $9.50. Okay, so based on this, for 1 hour working using this gig, you get $9 per hour. Working this gig over here, for 1 hour, you get $9.50. So, the better deal is babysitting for 6 hours. Because, whoa, sorry, I don't know why I'm so sloppy. Because, good thing you're listening to this and not just copying it down in the video, because you might be confused. pacing for 6 hours because you'd get, how much more? 50 cents more per hour. So that's 0.5. 50 cents. Okay. All right. Bye.